Which is that, what's your reaction to hearing that these two of these recent 4 fires in this particular area are human cause? Is it a sign of anything as it relates to homelessness in this area?
Well, you don't want to, stigmatize a group that's already been stigmatized, but the truth is there's been lots of fires over the years and it's always been homeless. So I don't want to say that's for sure, but that certainly would fit.
Yeah, we had seen, our reporting had shown that there were encampments. We saw those yesterday in the particular area where the fires started. Why do you think people will have to go out to the wetlands to feel like maybe that they're safer out there, as opposed to going under the tunnels and being out in the summer heat, of course?
Yeah, well, that's I'm sure the answer. I mean, honestly, there's lots of places where they know historically they've gone. The wetlands is one of them. I think it's because of the overgrowth. It's not nearly as hot as other places, and they can build a fire and no one's going to complain. So hopefully that's not what it was, but it certainly sounds like it.
And then as far as what the county does for those folks that don't pay attention to everything that the county does, what is the county doing to address homelessness here in Clark County?
We could spend hours talking about it, but honestly, we've developed a system where we can address homeless. We have nonprofit people that go out there, talk to them, offer services. We have a place you can stay. We don't have permanent housing, but we have everything else. We have rehabilitation. We have mental health court, mental health facility. We just opened up something this week. So there's lots of options out there. The key is, are they willing to accept services? And truthfully, most of them, at least initially, are not.
We also spoke with Shine a Light today, and they spoke about the work that they do as far as helping folks out. What is that role? I mean, you mentioned it, nonprofits pretty early on there. I imagine it's an important role that you think that they play in the city as well.
Absolutely. I mean, what we have is the nonprofits are the first responders. They go out, they deal with them, like in the tunnels with Shine a Light. They will go in there regularly. If there's a flood coming, they'll go in there and say, look, be careful, guys. There's a flood coming. Try to get everybody out of there. We use Help with Southern Nevada for not the tunnels, but for flood conditions or for flood channels or neighborhoods, whatever. So they're very professional. A lot of them have been on the street themselves, so you just can't say enough about how great they are. But again, they can just offer services. They can relate, so they can talk to people. But at the end of the day, right now it's not taking services. A lot of them are not. We also have the police that will come after that and say, you're going to jail, so it's your choice.
Right, and then in that respect too, when we talked to the Clark County Fire today, they talked about how important it is to have kind of the interagency conversations to help address. Or is there anything that you've seen that they've described that you'd like to see more as far as interagency conversations? I imagine as far as maybe moving people out of these dangerous areas where a fire can burn up as well.
Yeah, well, again, that's something. I mean, the wetlands is a huge area, so we don't have the ability to patrol it 24/7. But the other thing is, a lot of the homeless, when they get overheated or whatever, the fire department has to pick them up and take them to the emergency room. That costs thousands of dollars. So we're trying to actually work with police and fire and the nonprofits to have some kind of a triage system where the fire department can go, but they don't have to take them to the emergency room. They can take them to our new mental health court, mental health hospital, or they can just take them back to the fire station or whatever. So we're looking at all kinds of options, because the worst thing we can do is take them to the hospital. That costs a fortune, and when they come out of the hospital, you're the same where you were. But same with jail. I mean, we take them to jail, they're there for a while, but we don't treat them in the jail, so when they get out, they're back on the street and likely to be back in jail or back at the hospital or somewhere.
You just described it, but mental health seems to be at the kind of the forefront of maybe what that next step is as far as addressing homelessness in Clark County.
Absolutely, and we just on Tuesday, I think it was, we just opened our mental health hospital on East Lake Mead. We also have another facility that we're getting ready to do. We're creating an opioid treatment center too, so we'll have lots of options. Those are very difficult, obviously, but again, it's so cheap relative to going to the emergency room or going to jail, and ideally they can get in there and get treatment. But it's a multifaceted process, and there is no silver bullet.
How important is it to get the word out? Because like you said, I think a lot of people, everyone's first stop shop is, okay, we need to call the police in case we're in danger, and maybe in a situation like this, well, we got to call the hospital because we just think that's a natural place to go when you're sick or something.
Yeah, and that's what happens. You'll see them. It's tragic, but they're lying on the sidewalk or somewhere, obviously in terrible condition. The natural reaction is it's called the ambulance. Let's have them pick them up, take them to the emergency room. A lot of people have been to emergency multiple times. We had one person, I think last year, was in the jail for like over 200 times. So just huge expense, and if we can get that system under control, so we can quickly see that you're not dying. Do you need drug rehab? What do you need? And try to focus on that. But it's honestly, we are doing the best we can do. We could obviously do better, but we're not ignoring the problem.
And last couple questions for you. You talked about earlier about the stigmatization of homelessness and just people who would, if they hadn't seen, I guess what we had seen, maybe just automatically associate the scenes that we saw yesterday with a homeless person. How important is it for those people to feel like it's okay to seek that type of help that you're talking about?
Well, obviously that's the key. Is we don't want them to think that if the police even take you to one of these intermediate care centers, we're not being arrested. So it's a lot of this is that's where the nonprofits come in, because they are able to relate on a one-to-one basis. They can convince people that look, you need to do this, and so we have these different facilities. But the other thing is, remember, our society is so rich. The fact that we have this number of homeless people who, for whatever reason, there's no excuse for that. We need to just, as a society, say this is wrong in this day and age. With you see by the Strip with all these billion-dollar hotels, and you see people laying on the street. Hello, there's something going on that our society in general needs to focus on. How we can make life better for people, for everybody, and not let them get to this point either.
And just one last follow-up, and you basically just answered my question, which was, what should people who are watching this and feel like they need to, or feel like they can help in some sort of way, do? And I imagine part of that is changing your mindset about how you do this.
It is, and honestly, I mean, government gets a bad rap, and we're spending our taxpayer money. What are you doing with it? You're throwing it away, whatever. There's a role for government. We are very lean and mean. But at some point, government needs to step in, and the sooner in the process, the better. We have a big eviction situation where we can actually help step in and keep people from being evicted. That is huge, because once you're evicted and on the street or in your car, then it's just a downward spiral. So we need to stop the evictions. We need to have a system where if you're in your car and we find you, here's a place you can go. Just the sooner we get people who are becoming homeless or just became homeless into the system, the better. Because if you've been on the street for a couple of years, you have huge issues. All of us would. We'd all be mentally ill.